All right, so here's our wrap-up review of the Yamaha e-bike. And this is the first e-bike we've had from the Japanese mega motorcycle brand. And it's been a pretty impressive bike. Definitely a unique approach to designing an e-bike. They've almost not really designed it for like the hardcore e-bikers to upgrade the next bike to. They've almost designed it as a perfect kind of entry point to e-biking to someone that's maybe come from a motor's background or a jet ski background or something like that. But yeah, there's a lot about this bike to sort of unpack and talk about. And yeah, of course, the design approach. Now Blake, before we get into it too much, you've been riding this bike now for a couple of months. Give us a run through of the sort of key figures.
Absolutely. So yeah, Yamaha have done a really good job on calling on a lot of their experience from their motorsport background. So a lot of their design cues and things like that aren't like what we look at and see traditionally from other mainstream mountain bike brands. So we've got 27.5 plus wheels, front and rear. So we've got a lot of tyre underneath us, so probably gives it a little bit more of a motorbike feel in that aspect. Nice big chunky 2.6s front and rear. We've got RockShox Lyric fork up front and a super deluxe shock out the back, taking care of the bouncy bits. Full aluminium frame construction, and the battery is actually housed between two individual down tubes there, and the shock is housed between two individual top tubes. So we've got some very unique design cues, specifically in the front end. But yeah, the way that the battery is housed in the frame and the motor is so tight up underneath the bottom bracket there is very impressive.
Now, one of the things we said before is that this is the first Yamaha complete e-bike that we've had here at the magazine, but we're definitely no strangers to the Yamaha name coming on e-bikes. These motors are up there with the very best in the entire industry, and that's given Yamaha a real head start when it comes to building the rest of the bike around it. Of course, the Yamaha motors are housed in all of the premium off-road giant e-MTBs that we've gotten. And this is actually the top of the line version. It's very compact and it's got lots of power. Blake, tell us a bit about the power delivery, how many newton meters does this thing puts out?
Absolutely. So, although we are no strangers to the Yamaha motor, normally it's coming with a giant logo on it, but it's manufactured by Yamaha. One thing that we haven't seen before until this bike is the mapping, if you will, behind the motor is drastically different from anything we've seen before on the Yamaha motor, and that was one thing that we spoke about with the guys at Yamaha when they first introduced us to the bike and that type of thing. They have obviously kept a few cards close to their chest, basically because of what they're planning in the future around other e-MTBs. But yeah, the motor, the power delivery and that kind of thing feels very different to anything we've experienced before, not only with the Yamaha but any other e-MTB for that matter. You've got a beautiful little controller up on the handlebars there with a few LEDs that shows you what mode you're in, the dynamic mode and that kind of thing. But basically with 85 newton meters of power, it's not the most powerful motor, but it's very close to. But definitely the way that it delivers the power makes it feel more powerful than anything we've ridden before.
Awesome. Now, is it fair to say, Blake, that Yamaha's approach here is to go for a real all-rounder? They haven't gone for a bike that's going to be have the craziest geometry, so it's like super stable at high speeds, or it's going to be in the best climate. It's really kind of designed to be a jack of all trades and be super comfortable for a really wide range of different riders. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Like the thing that sort of really is obvious to you once you start riding it on a few different trails, bit of different terrain, is it really is quite comfortable bike. Especially, it's been a while since I've ridden 27.5 plus tyres, like these big juicy 2.6 bits of rubber underneath me, but they're super comfortable. Obviously, like we've got some good suspension on there, but there's just something that such a big carcass of a tyre, you can't replicate that in any other way. It's just super comfortable. Obviously, you've got loads of grip, you've got a lot of tyre in contact with the ground, but it's more comfortable than like say a traditional 29er tyre, which is going to be the same diameter.
So this is the kind of e-bike you'd hop on and you could quite comfortably ride pretty much all day long on pretty much any type of trail. So yeah, a big tick I'd say from Yamaha in that regard. Now, one of the things that's really unique about the Yamahas is that these bikes are only available at Yamaha motorcycle stores, or land mobility stores as they say. There's more than 50 dealers across the country. And another cool thing that sort of Yamaha have done here is, rather than have a bunch of different models and a bunch of different specs to kind of get maybe people that are coming new to the sport of mountain biking or e-biking might sort of get a bit confused and kind of lose themselves, like which model should we get. This bike's only available in one spec, one model. And so yeah, it's basically there's 4 sizes. All you got to do is pick your frame size, and the rest Yamaha's already done for you. So if you're looking to maybe get into a bit of e-biking, if you want a bike that's just going to be a huge amount of fun to ride on the weekend or during the week, Mate, Yamaha have done a pretty bloody good job here with our first bike. We believe they've got a few extra models coming over the next sort of year or so. So be interesting to watch this space, but straight out of the bag, I think Yamaha have done a pretty good job with this bike, and yeah, we've definitely had a lot of fun riding it over the last few months.